Next point from that game. Let's look at the Bama side of things. All right. So Alabama goes out there and loses the game. And it was a great game, obviously, and Bryce Young was phenomenal. And you could think to yourself, and I've seen some people do this, oh man, hey, Bama's struggled in 3 games now, and this might be the beginning of the end for Alabama. No. I've made that mistake before. I have made that mistake before. Those of you that believe that Alabama is trending down, that they are ripe for the taking, do not fall into the trap. Do not fall into it. Yes, everything I said was true. Did they struggle against Texas? Yes. They were undisciplined. They had way too many penalties. Did they struggle against Texas A&M? Yes. I throw that out because Bryce Young wasn't there, and he clearly means everything to them. Did they struggle defensively, in particular, against Tennessee and lose in a sloppy fashion with a lot of penalties? Yes, they did. But that doesn't mean they're going anywhere. Okay, so think of what it took in 2 of those 3 games. Well, really in all 3. It took, 1, Bryce Young had to be not playing for you to struggle against Texas A&M. And then in the other 2, it took Quinn Ewers having to play out of his mind in the first quarter, and then Hendon Hooker having to be unbelievable in a 5-touchdown effort to beat you at home in a raucous environment against Tennessee. Folks, Ole Miss ain't beating Alabama, right? They don't have Quinn Ewers. They don't have Hendon Hooker. They don't have that. Jackson Dart ain't that guy. Lane Kiffin, they don't have that gear. So Bama's not going anywhere. Bama still controls their own destiny in their own side of the division. They still control their own destiny to win an SEC title. Therefore, ergo, they control their own destiny to go to the playoff. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. In Tennessee, in order to win the SEC, to win a title, to put something on the mantle, you'll have to beat them again. And this time, you're not going to get an environment like you had in Knoxville on Saturday night. So Alabama's not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere, especially if Bryce Young is on the field. That guy was unbelievable. It's almost too bad that he's going to have to fall a rung below kind of the top tier guys in terms of the Heisman Trophy race because he didn't do anything wrong. My goodness, that guy was good. He was absolutely fantastic. It does put Bama in one precarious spot. There isn't room for error anymore. Bama gets the benefit of the doubt. They do have, playoff privilege, if you want to call it that. The burden of proof is not on Alabama, and they will go if they go and win the SEC. And that's just the absolute facts of it. So they're fine. They just do not have that backstop anymore. They're going to have to go out and win the SEC to get there. Last thing that I want to get to for this game. So we've got 3 points, right? We've got the first point, which was Tennessee is ahead of schedule. That offense clearly in the top 2 in college football, and Hendon Hooker has put himself firmly in the Heisman Trophy race. That's what Saturday did. There's no doubt about it, and I loved it. I loved every moment of it. It was an epic environment. What's number 2? Number 2 is we can tell by what this team is that they are not championship material yet, unless Hendon Hooker turns into Joe Burrow from 2019 and can just absolutely take them and put them on his back and ride and take them to a championship. Number 3, Bama's going to be just fine. Do not write them off. They're likely going to be in Atlanta playing for the SEC championship and a right to go to the playoff and compete for a national championship. That's just the bottom line. They're not going anywhere. And then the last thing that I want from that game, fourth point. And listen to me very clearly on this, okay, folks? I remember when 1,100 total yards and over 100 points in any game inside of your conference meant that your conference was garbage, didn't play defense, and that you should not be taken seriously. And everybody in the Big 12 remembers that as well. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to throw those cards around, and I'm not going to say that you don't play defense in that conference, and I'm not going to rip on that conference because that game was too good. Just like the Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield games with Texas Tech and Oklahoma when all those SEC fans would just snub their nose at it and look down on it and say, you don't play any defense and your conference ain't any good. I'm not going to do that. That conference is amazing. The game was amazing. And I don't care if there was 1,100 yards and 100 total points scored in that game. Those two quarterback performances were epic, and they should be as enjoyed as such. But it's not too far in my rearview mirror when I remember you all down there in the South saying, hey, 1,100 yards and 100 points. Ha! That ain't football. That just means your conference is trash and you don't play any defense. I remember that. I'm keeping receipts. And you remember it too. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here. College football on Fox.